Well, hello there and welcome to this F1 2017 career mode with Sauber. We're at season 3, round 1, so this is the start of season 3. Towards the end of last season, I put up a Twitter poll saying should I stay with Sauber or go to McLaren at the end of the season because they were the team that had the best reputation with me. And then it came to the end of the season, looked at the contract offers and there was nothing from McLaren. It was Haas, Toro Rosso and Williams. So I paused the game quickly, spoke to a few people, said what should I do? And the general consensus was what I've done with Sauber so far, it'd be a bit silly to leave and go to another midfield team because I don't know what they've done depending on upgrades to the car. We've done quite a lot and I've been quite meticulous with what I've done as well and planning it all ahead and all that. So I've decided therefore to stay with Sauber because McLaren didn't offer me a contract, and I will be remaining with Sauber now until probably, I don't know, maybe we'll end up maxing out the car by the end of season 5 or something, and then if I'm still struggling to really mount a title challenge with our car being at its peak performance, I then may move to another team because I don't want to win the title. If I can't do it with Sauber, I will do it with someone else. So I'm staying with Sauber for season 3. So we'll have a quick look at what we've done. The practice sessions have gone okay. I've got purple in everything apart from the qualifying pace program. I can only manage green on that. As for the upgrades, we've done very, very well. First thing you'll notice there on the right hand side, the vehicle performance comparison. We have now jumped just ahead of McLaren, so we're no longer the worst team. And you see there the vehicle performance status, our chassis has jumped up straight away, really quite high. What I did at the end of the last episode was, with the resource points that we gained, was get the 4th one for this, which now makes that the powertrain is now 600 for all the minors, same as the chassis. I've done nothing for the aero, and then over onto the chassis we have unlocked the hydraulics weight redistribution, the tyre blankets for the tyre wear, and this one here, which is a major upgrade, which is the lightweight wheel rims, which was to do with the weight reduction. At the end of the season, obviously the major and the ultimate upgrades take a few weeks to do, but because it's off season, they're done straight away. They've all come in with no problems, and you see there our chassis is now the 5th best on the grid. We've really shot up, and I think it'll only take probably another major upgrade to even get ahead of Force India. So we've done really well on that. As for the aero, we are now the worst in the aero. It used to be the chassis, it's now the aero, and obviously in the powertrain as well, we remain where we are. So yeah, pretty good for the chassis, quite nice. I think the plan is now for the rest of the season to really get rid of all the major and the minor upgrades over here. I reckon we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 major, 2 minors. I reckon we could have that done by mid-season, and then what I'll do, I'll leave the ultimate ones until the end of the season. Then the second half of the season, we'll move over to the powertrain and start chipping away at this, and then at the end of the season, we will then now start working on all of this over here as well. So then if we come out of this and then look at the progress history, you can see that on the left hand side, Mercedes and Ferrari still very close at the top, and they upgraded over the season. Then there's a gap to Red Bull in 3rd, and then a bigger gap to Force India in 4th, and then Renault in 5th place. They've all upgraded. In the off season, Williams didn't do any upgrades by the looks of it. No upgrades at all for them, and now Toro Rosso and Haas are very close behind them in 7th and 8th. And then at the bottom there you can see we have successfully, with our major upgrades on the chassis, jumped ahead of McLaren, who also failed to do any upgrades. So Williams and McLaren are really slipping away here, but we've managed to move up quite nicely now. We're still quite a distance away from Haas, but we've managed to get the jump on McLaren, so we're still making good progress. As for our power units, I think because we're now running full qualifying in 50% race distance rather than the short qualifying in a 25, everything seems to take a bit longer for the wear to go. We've done 3 practice sessions, did 31 laps in total, and it's 9% for the ICE, 8 for the MG UK, 8 for the MGUH, 5 for the NG Store, 7 for the turbocharger, and 5 for the electronics, and the gearbox is at 6%. So I think then that it obviously takes a lot more time, I should say, if I can use my words, to get everything quite worn on the parts because we're running longer distances now. So we'll listen to the voicemail then for the qualifying objective and see what the team have set us. So qualifying 19th place and beat Magnussen. I think it's pretty achievable, although the setup I've got isn't really particularly ideal. I've been struggling a little bit with overall pace. However, towards the end of FP3, a majority of the field, I think there were a couple of guys that only ran the super soft tyres. We ran the ultra softs, as did our teammate, and we ended up the session in 12th place, whilst Verline ended up in 13th, just a 10th offers. So hopefully now with quite a bit of the upgrades done to the chassis in the off-season, that's now brought Verline up from the back of the field to probably around about lower midfield. That's what I'm hoping for. because it's about time that, because we're scoring, I mean, last season we got 86 points and Verline scored none of them, and I really do need him to start scoring some points if we're going to creep up to the likes of Williams, because I think that we've got a real legitimate chance here of finishing in 5th place in the championship. Force India won't be caught, and then the big three obviously will be miles ahead, but I think we've got a real good chance if Verline pulls his finger out of his arse and scores some points here and there, that we've got a good chance of jumping Williams. So that is basically pre-season all done, and the off-season as well. So we'll go to qualifying then, and we'll have a look at the weather, because I think it's dry for qualifying, but it might be wet for the race, I think, if I remember. And yeah, we'll have a go at full qualifying then. So this is going to be new to me, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge to get the timings right as well. So yeah, looking forward to it. Of course, the problem with full qualifying is it gives everyone a real good opportunity now to really put in their best laps. I mean, the 12-minute short qualifying sessions meant a few people made mistakes or got the timings wrong, but we had an opportunity to jump a few. In full qualifying, it's going to be a lot more difficult. Just looking here at the weather then, the race is, yeah, full intermediate weather by the looks of it all the way throughout. So we're going to have to wait a while before we start seeing alternate strategies play out in the race, but I don't mind Australia in the wet. We're quite good in the wet. Last season it was wet, and I think we came up from 18th on the grid to maybe 6th or 7th. So I'm hoping for the same here tonight in the race. But qualifying looks dry. Couple of people out on track, not that it matters. So we'll have a quick look at the setup. No different to what it was last season, but we'll run through it. What I'm going to do is bump in a bit of extra fuel, because I think the first run I'm going to do 2 laps. 9.8 on the downforce. I was tempted to run 8.7, but we'll stay with 9.8 to give me the downforce in the medium to high speed corners. Transmission 90 and 90. I did drop that down to 80 and 80 in practice sessions, and only found a couple of extra attempts running the quicker tyre, so in difference it makes no real difference. I've left it at 90-90. Suspension geometry is all over the place for the camber and the toes. 994433 for the suspension geometrics. Brakes 80%, but we'll bump it up to 85 and 65 for the bias. Tyres, I think we'll drop down. No, because it's going to be wet in qualifying, isn't it? In the race, isn't it? So I kind of need as much tyre pressure as possible. And the weight distribution is at 6. So 16 minutes left of a session or thereabouts. I'll have a look at the tyres. That's something else I've got to do now, isn't it, really? See what tyres we've got available to us. I choose the balanced option for the first race. So we've got 3 sets of Ultras and a set of Super Softs. And then in the Q3 we've got a mandatory set of the Ultra Softs, as the postman has just scared me by dropping a load of mail through the door. And in the race we've obviously got these as well, but it won't be mattered. So it looks like then that we have a mandatory set of Q3 tyres, and then if we do get through to Q2, whatever tyre we set our fastest lap on would be our set that we start the race, but it's going to be intermediate, so it doesn't matter. So I think we'll go out there straight away on the set of Ultra Soft tyres. Won't bother with the Super Softs, because that won't really be able to help us. So we'll go out on track then, set a couple of quick laps and see where we end up. It's always nice being back at Australia, isn't it? Fresh new season, fresh start for everyone. Right, a couple of final corners in. So then we'll go for 2 laps, see what we can do. So it's just 4 minutes left of the session. We will get time to go out again. 2 timed laps. The second one was quicker by about 3.5 tenths. And we're currently sitting in 12th place. And I believe it's the top 15 that go through. So we're looking pretty comfortable at the moment. I can definitely find a few more temps out there. So we might be looking at something like a 1 minute 25.4, maybe a 25.5 if we're lucky, which won't really move me up a bit, but it might bridge a bit of gap against everyone else. You can see already in qualifying, Verline is still at the bottom, unfortunately. But he's right behind Lance Stroll and Van Dorn. Alonso is a little bit quicker, as you can imagine, and Massett is over Stroll as well. So Verline's certainly catching up to those at the back, but we still need a bit more in the car. You've got to remember we're only just ahead of McLaren in the vehicle performance, but you can see there straight away Williams really struggling, 15th and 19th so far. Ocon in 8th place, Perez in 5th. We'll be expecting Force India to do quite well. A few guys on the Super Softs trying to save a set of Ultras for Q2 and Q3. Bottas, Vettel and Verstappen, you would expect them to be quite comfortable. So we'll go back out on track then, do a slow out lap and then give it another go. And yeah, hopefully we can improve our time to get through to Q2. So we've just done it by the skin of our teeth. I only improved by literally a couple of thousandths of a second, but it was just enough, I feel, to keep us in the qualifying session. So Verline has been eliminated, along with both the McLarens of Van Dorn and Alonso. Palmer and Stroll also starting towards the back of the field. We've just managed to creep in then. Yeah, the lap felt okay. Sector 1 was alright. I was a couple of attempts up, but I must have made a mistake somewhere and lost a bit of time. But we're into Q2, which is nice, so we'll crack on with that and see if we can improve. So then 3.5 minutes left of the session. I've just sat here patiently while I've skipped forward time a little bit because we're only going to do one run on the Ultra Softs because you've only got V's and a set of Super Softs left and it's pointless running the Super Softs. So we'll get out there now. We'll go for one glory run towards the end of the session. There's 3.8 seconds separating the top 14. That's crazy, isn't it? It looks like Hamilton and Raikkonen, for whatever reason, have decided to go for the Supers. Makes no difference, really. They will be through to Q3, I assume. And with the wet race coming up, it doesn't really matter because we'll be starting on the same tyres. So we'll go out there with 3 minutes left and we'll do one lap and see if we can do anything to get towards maybe Q3. But I'm hoping if we can get 12th or 13th, I'll be happy with that. Right, let's go for it. Well, that was pretty disappointing, to be honest. Massa tried to pass us in Sector 3 and we would have lost probably 2 or 3 temps. As it is, we've ended up in 14th place. I think we would have had 13th, maybe 12th, I don't know. So then Grosjean, Massa, Sainz, myself and Magnussen are all out, which means that Hulkenberg, Kvyat, both the Ferraris, Red Bulls, Mercedes and Force Indias have gone through into Q3. So we will be starting this race from 14th. So then the results points for qualifying. Let's have a look, see how this has all gone on. 90, that's quite nice. So you get a few more then, obviously, for doing Q1, Q2 and Q3 if you can. So if we manage to get through to Q3 and do a couple of laps in that, we could be looking at 100 points for qualifying, which is nice. Nearly at 600, so we will be able to get that after the race, which means another chassis upgrade. Looking very forward to that. The rivalry update then, unfortunately Magnussen did out-qualify us in the end. And yeah, so he's now 1 point away, so we really need to pull something out of our arse here if we're going to beat this rivalry. But it looks like the Magnussen's going to get it, unfortunately. And the team approval, it's all over the place at the moment, as you can imagine, staying with Sauber for next season. But it looks like that McLaren's still in the lead, and Force India are now up there as well, looking towards us for the future, which is quite nice. So we'll listen to the voicemail. As you can see, it's raining outside there, so we'll see what the team have set me. Finished in 17th and beat Magnussen. I think it's pretty achievable. There's not much else to look at then, so we might as well open up the old lappy top and then go straight to the race. Our first 50% race distance here, and it's going to be in the wet, so looking forward to this one.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Ricciardo, Max Verstappen, and Perez, Kvyat, Hulkenberg, Ocon, and Roman Grosjean, Raikkonen, Massa, Carlos Sainz, and the Sauber, Magnussen, Palmer, Fernando Alonso, and Lance Stroll, Van Dorn, and Pascal Wehrlein completes the grid.
So starting in 14th, Raikkonen's had a penalty for some unknown reason, and he will be starting down in 11th. Not too sure where he qualified, but unfortunately for him to already have a penalty. So we'll have a look at the field then. 29 laps. Looks like we're going to have to make a pit stop at some point. Go from inters onto inters. Right, so we'll bump the fuel up anyway. 33 laps? Yeah, that sounds alright. Right, 4 laps extra. Right, here we go then. So we'll get the formation up out of the way and then get this race on the go. Here we go then. Lights coming on now for the start of Season 3. Let's hope and pray we get a good one. Lights are out and away we go. It's an average start. Oh, here comes a Renault down the inside. Oh, we're going to get squeezed. Oh, these guys, what are they doing? Turn 3 next, up the inside of this lot. Thank you very much. Up to 12th. Oh, contact with Raikkonen. And again. Oh, that was a wild move up the inside, sort of on the curb a little bit, but we've managed to get past Grosjean. We're inside the top 10 now. Oh, we've tagged the back of Hulkenberg, that's a shame. Might try a move though. Up into 9th. Up the inside of Ocon. They are very slow through there, so it gives me a good opportunity. Now we've got Kvyat, so it's Kvyat then that seems to be holding everyone up. I need to get past this guy as quickly as possible. Green flags. Oh, Vettel's out the race. And the VSC is out for it. So Vettel becomes the first retirement of season 3. Oh, we've made more contact with the back of Kvyat here. We're going to race around the outside, change strategy. No, we're going to stay as we are. Although we now have yellow segments on both front sides. But we've managed to get past Kvyat into 6th place. So just coming into lap 10, me and Ocon have pulled away from the cars behind. I'm probably going to pit for my second set of intermediate tyres. Maybe at the end of lap 12 or something. Change the front wing. And then hopefully if we do lose some positions with the extra fuel we've got, that we can jump back up. But here comes Ocon up the inside now. He's been waiting for this for about 2 or 3 laps now. Not much I can do. He was always going to go through eventually. Looks like a few people are making pit stops, which is a bit early. So into lap 13 then, I've now got Raikkonen behind me. He's managed to catch me a couple of seconds a lap the last 3 or 4 laps, and Ocon's disappeared into the distance. Jeff's just come over the radio and said 10 more minutes of rain. I'm not too sure if that's until the next like heavy rain shower or what, but if it's going to be dry in 10 minutes, A, it wasn't forecasted, and B, I think I might risk staying out. Here comes Raikkonen around our outside. I will fight for the position. Oh, well done to him. He's managed to do it around the outside and pushes us back to 8th. But some people have made pit stops, others haven't. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. A clear patch is on the way. 10 more minutes of rain. If I can make these inters last, I might be able to do just a 1 stop straight onto a set of dry tyres. So just come over and said that the rain is getting easier. The track is drying apparently, even though it's still raining. So it does look like then we're going to get the a dry spell here. Just got to make these inters last. Oh, 56 in the front left. No wonder my car's sliding. So we've got 10 laps to go. Or thereabouts. I've now got Ocon and Raikkonen up behind me after they've made their pit stops onto another set of inters. I've already pre-selected to repair the front wing and go for a set of ultra soft tyres, because I think we'll be on dry tyres in about 2 or 3 laps. The tyres are really struggling now. Oh, trying to defend from Raikkonen, but he's finally through. Fuck it. Can't mug me off that easily. Oh. Now finally he's through. Now I've got the Force India behind me as well. The rain has stopped, so now it's just a waiting game. Here comes Ocon. Oh, bit of contact. Just hung underneath his rear wing. Up the inside to turn 3. Oh, we've outbraked ourselves. And off we go. And through goes Ocon. So it's just down to 8th. 68 on the front left. Wow. No wonder I'm struggling for grip. So Jeff's just come over the radio to say it's a viable strategy change. I'm straight in the pits. Nice and slowly in. What I have noticed is Alonso might get the jump on us initially, but he's still on the intermediates as well. So we look pretty safe at 8th place. I just hope it is time for dry tyres. Bump it into rich mix. 2.17 laps worth of extra fuel. 8 laps to go. Oh, the rears are spinning up a bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jeff, what have you done? It's too early. Oh, we are struggling for grip big time. Oh, through goes our teammate. He's having a good race. And Jeff's just coming across saying the intermediates is the right tyre choice. I don't believe it. He's just told me that it's ready for dries. Oh, I can barely control his car. Sorry, Toro Rosso. I don't believe it. Now I'm getting blue flags as well. Oh, well, I might as well struggle on. No point pitting now for Inters. I just can't believe that. Jeff says viable strategy change. Right, in we go. Well, I'm never trusting Jeff again. He can go fuck himself. He's fired. Nah, fuck this. I'm in again.
Say that again. We're having trouble receiving.
Oh, I haven't done it in time, so I'm going to come back out on another set of ultra soft tyres. And we spun it, and we're in the wall. Race fucking over. So we've caught the curb on the rear tyres, and that spatters into the wall at turn 6, I think, or something like that, to bring what was going to be a decent race to a premature end. No thanks to Jeff. I'm solely putting all of the blame on Jeff. He said viable strategy, pit now for ultras, did that, came out, and it was a completely wrong choice. Should have completely ignored him, pitted earlier for a set of inters, and just carried them to the end. But Verstappen's won. Bottas second, Hamilton in third. Looks like the one-stop strategy worked over those that decided to make 2 stops. You see there Perez, Raikkonen's done a good recovery, and Alonso's managed to pick up 4 points as well. Verline, who was running inside the top 10 when he passed us, unfortunately slipped back to 12th. And then further down, Van Dorn and Grosjean were at least a lap down. Don't know why it hasn't shown it. And of course we were tied as well as Vettel. So the standings, pretty much the same as the race order then. Verstappen leads. I think that's the first time I've ever seen him in the lead of the championship, so well done to him. And in the constructors, we've slipped all the way down to 9th. McLaren already with 4 points, but Williams, who were really targeting in this, they failed to score as well. So all's not lost, but it's just disappointing that the first race has ended like that, because it looked so promising. I was pretty much nailed on for at least 8th place, and yeah, for Jeff to fuck me over like that is pretty disappointing, really. So that's the last time I'll be listening to him, I think. So the resource points for the race, hopefully we've got enough to get over 600. We have, although 45 for the race is pretty disappointing. First driver bonus as well, we will hit the 15% extra resource points at some point in this season, but only 49 for this race. The rivalry update, yeah, we've lost that. We knew we were going to do that. And the reputation level has absolutely dive-bombed with all of the teams, really. After that, we failed to finish or beat Pascal Wehrlein. And the career score as well. Well, this has been promising for practice and qualifying, and but it's pretty disappointing overall. Still managed to hit 10,000 though, which is nice. And we've got a checkpoint challenge thing and a pursuit as well. I think we'll do a checkpoint challenge at Italy, so we'll do that one then, but I'll do it off camera obviously. So we'll have a quick look then before we end this episode. Right, we've got an upgrade to do, which will obviously be onto the chassis. So we've got just these 2 here, the minor ones, because all the rest are now major and ultimate. So we've got, oh, we can only do this one, can't we? Yeah, right, so engine cover weight reduction, very nice. So we'll chuck that on the car. Hopefully that will pass through. If not, it'll mean we need 300 next time out to properly get it done, and we'll definitely get there next time out at China. So that's it all done then.
Let's have a look. 11% on the gearbox. That's quite nice. Everything else is pretty nice as well. So it looks like then, even with the longer race distances, everything lasts a bit longer, which is quite nice. So yeah, that'll be the end of the episode then. Like I said, I'll end the episode here. I'll do the invitational event off screen, but hopefully we can get about 5 or 6 of them done this season, because we need the ultimate upgrades halved as well at some point. So yeah, I mean, qualifying was okay. We got into Q2 for the first time, which is nice, and the race was looking good. I was pretty much nailed on for at least an 8th place, and then Jeff decided to screw us over, so I'm really disappointed about that. But yeah, first race, unfortunately it's ended in retirement, which is a shame. Hopefully we can bounce back next time out in China. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.